بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا وطيبا مباركا فيه وصلوات الله والسلام على نبينا الأمين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. For the last 13 days we've been traveling, just got back actually today. So wanted to resume the class of the Arba'in Ahadith of Imam An-Nawawi. But as it is the case all the time, whenever there's a discontinuation in the class, some of the students don't know that the next class is going to be a particular day, so they don't come. So we don't want to resume the class without the regular attendees present, giving them an opportunity to do that, to go through the whole book of Imam An-Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala. So we make usage of this time, inshallah, to remind you, to bring to your attention an important issue that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to pay close attention to, used to remind the companions of it consistently. And from the signs that Yawm al-Qiyamah is fastly approaching is the fact that we don't mention this issue, especially on the Friday, the Khutbah al-Jum'ah. He says, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, inna min ashrat as-sa'ati an yutraka dhikru Dajjal min al-manabir. From the signs that Yawm al-Qiyamah is going to be established is that the people won't mention about the Dajjal on Friday. And the reason why he put the emphasis on the Friday is that's the day when all of the Muslims, men and women, a large multitude, a big gathering of Muslims come. So it's an opportunity to remind them of the seriousness of the Masih ad-Dajjal. This issue of the Dajjal, many times, again, we mentioned this before about different issues. Sometimes when an organization or masjid wants to get a lot of people to come to attend their lecture or their seminar or their conference, they like to choose a topic like the Ashrat al-Sa'ah, the signs of the hour, or the Dajjal. Because some people feel if you talk about the Dajjal, then this is an issue where there's not a lot of ikhtilafin, and a person can come as a Sufi and listen and leave as a Sufi. He can come as a Shi'i and he can leave as a Shi'i. The individual can come as whatever he wants to come and leave. So it's one of those issues people consider to be from the generic topics in Islam. That's not the case. The Iman in the Masih ad-Dajjal is from the foundations of the religion, from the usul of the Sunnah, from a number of angles. When the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was asked by Jibreel, tell me what is al-Iman, and the first issue he mentioned was to believe in Allah and the Malaika and the books, and to believe in the Rasul and Yawm al-Qiyamah, to believe in the Qadr, the good and the evil of it. Al-Iman in Al-Yawm al-Akhir is from the basics of the religion, from the foundations of the religion. And having Iman in Yawm al-Akhir is to believe in everything that's been connected to it. And what has been connected to it, an integral part of Al-Iman in Yawm al-Akhir, is Al-Iman in the Al-Masih ad-Dajjal. So it's from the usul of the religion. And this is why we find that those ulama of the Salaf, from Ahl al-Hadith, from Ahl al-Sunnah, who wrote books about the Minhaj al-Salafi and told people this is how you are supposed to tread on the methodology of the Aqidah that the Prophet was upon with his companions, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, radiallahu anhum ajma'in, all of them put a Dajjal in the book, without any exception. Every single one of those books. Imam Ahmed's book that's been translated into English, Usul al-Sunnah, Usul al-Sunnah, he has in there a Dajjal. And Imam al-Barbahari, Sharh al-Sunnah, been translated into English, has in there a Dajjal. The book Asl al-Sunnah, that was a collaboration between two scholars of Hadith, Abu Hatim and Abu Zur'a al-Raziyan, both of them were Razis. They put in that treatise Al-Iman with the Dajjal. All of those books, without any exception. Al-Nakai's book, all of them. Al-Khalal, as-sunnah, all of those books are going to bring from the foundations of the aqidah of the Salaf, what Ahl Sunnah believe in is this issue, because some people came and they made crazy interpretations of the Dajjal back then, and they make crazy interpretations of the Dajjal today. Another point that shows the importance of the issue is that the Nabi came out to his companions, radiallahu anhum, and they were sitting amongst themselves, and they were talking, and he asked them, what are you talking about? They said, we are remembering and studying Nadadaka al-Sa'i, Ya Rasulullah. He said, we are talking about the Yawm al-Qiyamah. We're sitting and we're talking about it. So then the Nabi told them, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Yawm al-Qiyamah is not going to happen until 10 things transpire. And then he told them about the major signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah. So the point here is that the companions used to actively engage themselves in studying this issue. So the companions are the best of this ummah, and they took the time out to sit and to study the issue amongst themselves. It goes to show that it is an important affair. You go to the books of al-Hadith, all of those books of al-Hadith, Sahih Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, Tirmidhi, Nasa'i, Ibn Majah, all of them have a chapter in there, all of them. The chapter of the Malahi, the chapter of the Fitan, and they bring those hadith of Dajjal. And as we all know, scholars of Islam, especially the ones of the past, al-Hadith, they never wasted their time, wasted the time of the Ummah with any action. They used to put those books together because of the significance of the information that was in those books. If you want to know the importance of the Dajjal and how you shouldn't allow a lot of time to go by without reminding yourself of it and without taking the time out to talk to your wife about it and your children, is the fact that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told the people, if any of you praise salat and then you come to the tashahhud, tahiyyatu lillahi was-salawatu wat-tayyibat, he said after you finish that, seek refuge in Allah from 4 things. And one of those 4 things he told us to seek refuge in Allah from the fitna of al-Masih ad-Dajjal. Now, the Muslims praying every single day. So whether it's Salat al-Janazah, Salat al-Eid, Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Fitr, whether it's Jum'ah, Tahiyyat al-Masjid, al-Duha, al-Ishraq, al-Tarawih, al-Maghrib, Isha, Sunnah prayers, the 2 rakat of al-Wudu, every prayer that he makes, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he made it the sunnah in every prayer to seek refuge in Allah Azza wa Jalla from the fitna of al-Masih ad-Dajjal. To the point that some of those ulama of the Salaf, like the tremendous Tabi'i, his name is Tawus ibn Kaysan al-Yamani. He's from the Thiqat, from those Tabi'un. He would say to his son, if his son prayed, did you seek refuge in Allah from the Dajjal? If the son said no, the father said, do your prayer over again. Now, if a person does not do Raf'ul Yadayn, if a person does not do certain sunnah in the prayer, not doing those actions does not render your prayer null and void. Your prayer counts, and it will be accepted by Allah, inshallah. But it is not as complete as it could have been. So if a person didn't seek refuge in Allah Azza wa Jalla from the Masih ad-Dajjal and fitna, if he didn't, doesn't mean his salat is no good. But that's the hirs, how the Salaf were upon this issue. That the father would tell his son, repeat that prayer again. So there are many examples and indications from the Salaf of this ummah concerning the importance of the issue. The fact that the Nabi told the people sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, ma bayna khalqi Adam ila qiyam as-sa'ati khalqun akbaru min ad-Dajjal. He said there's no fitna since the time that Allah Azza wa Jal created Adam until Yawm al-Qiyamah. There's no fitna that's bigger and greater than the Dajjal. As a result of that, what shows the importance of the issue is the statement sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, قال ما من نبي إلا حذر أمته من المسيح الدجال وفتنته. Every prophet from Nuh all the way to Isa, every single one of them warned their people about the fitna of al-Masih ad-Dajjal. And then when Rasulullah came, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he warned about him and he brought some issues that other prophets didn't tell their people about. He added on to the description of a Dajjal that other prophets didn't tell their communities because obviously they didn't know about those issues. And that's a rahmah from Allah Azza wa Jalla upon our ummah. So we want to take this opportunity, inshallah, because ikhwani, in this issue, there are a lot of issues to be dealt with concerning a Dajjal. If a person wanted to get a degree in what has been said and written about a Dajjal, he can get a master's degree and a PhD in this issue because there's so much information. And there are aspects of ikhtilaf in this issue, in the issue, that the student of knowledge appreciates the scholastic way of the ulama of Islam. So we're going to touch the surface, inshallah, by mentioning a number of those issues. First thing we want to mention is a shubha that some people have, and that is the question, why is it that a Dajjal was not mentioned in the Quran? He wasn't mentioned by that name, a Dajjal, or any mushtaq of the word Dajjal. Dajjal, Dajjal, the word doesn't come in the book of Allah. How and why is it that this big fitna, this creation, was going to come and make fitna and fasad in the earth, as you're going to see and as you already know, inshallah? How and why is it that the Quran didn't mention his situation at all? At all. First thing we mention is whether the Quran mentioned it or not is irrelevant. If it comes in the authentic sunnah only, then that's our religion. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, مَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ. If Allah or His Messenger decide something, then that's it. The Muslim man, woman, they don't have any say-so. So that's the first point. Second point to that question is the statement of Allah Ta'ala, يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ يُثْبِتْ وَعِنْدُهُ الْكِتَابِ. Allah wipes away and erases what He wants, and He establishes what He wants. With Him is the mother of the book. So as a result of that, if Allah Azza wa Jalla didn't put the mention of the Dajjal in the Quran, that's from the hikmah of Allah Azza wa Jalla. It's in the authentic sunnah, and it's been established over there. But some of the scholars, they said, no, he has been mentioned in the Quran, but in an indirect way that is understood when you couple these ayat with certain ahadith, is clearly referring to the Dajjal. In the Quran, in Surah Ghafir, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, لَخَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ أَكْبَرُ مِنْ خَلْقِ النَّاسِ. The creation of the heavens and the earth is bigger than the creation of the people, and nas. And Imam al-Baghawi, one of the great mufassirin of the Quran from the Shafi'i madhab, but he was an imam of the hadith, the fiqh, and other than that, he brought some athar of the Salaf stating that they were of the opinion that an-nas in this ayat is referring to a Dajjal. So we had some people, ulama of the Salaf, who understood that this particular ayat, it was referring to a Dajjal, that the creation of the heavens and the earth is bigger than the creation of a Dajjal. So that was the understanding of some of them. Although his name wasn't mentioned, some of the Salaf had that opinion. Another ayat, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He mentioned, يَوْمَ تَأْتِي بَعْدُ آيَاتِ رَبِّكَ لَا يَنْفَعُ نَفْسٍ إِيمَانُهَا. On the day when some of the signs of your Lord comes, when those signs come, for the person to believe when they come on that day, it's not going to benefit his soul. So the ayah said, on the day that some of the ayat of your Lord, when they come, when they appear, the person who believes in them when they come on that day, their iman is not going to benefit them. What was collected by Imam al-Tirmidhi, the Nabi explained some of those signs, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. He said, ثَلَاثَةٌ إِذَا خَرَجْنَا لَا يَنْفَعُ نَفْسٍ إِيمَانُهَا لَمْ تَكُنْ آمِنَةٍ مِنْ قَبْلِ الدَّجَّالُ وَالدَّابَةُ وَطُلُوعُ الشَّمْسِ مِنْ مَغْرِبِهَا. There are three things, if they happen, if they come, when the people believe in them, when they come, their faith is not going to help them. It's too late. And he mentioned those three things. Like the ayat said, when the ayat of your Lord comes, whoever believes in them at the moment when they come, it won't benefit. The Nabi said those three things is the Dajjal and the Dabba, and when the sun rises from the west. So that's one of the ways that a Dajjal was mentioned in the Quran in an indirect way, but then the hadith comes and explains it further. Another issue is those ayats that mention about Isa ibn Maryam, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. Sometimes the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned 10 signs and he left one of them out. He said the 10 major signs is that the Dajjal is one, the Dabba, the big animal, is another one, the Dukhan, or the smoke, is another one, the sun rising from the west and setting in the east. There are going to be 3 earthquakes, one in the east of Medina, one in the west of Medina, and one in the Arabian Peninsula. Another one is Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Another one is Isa ibn Maryam is going to come down. And the 10th one is the fire that's going to send the people from, a fire will come from Yemen and send the people to the Mahshar. So one of them, he mentioned 10, but one of them was missing. Which one was not mentioned? The Mahdi wasn't mentioned, which will make it 11. The scholar said the reason why the Mahdi wasn't mentioned is when the Prophet ﷺ mentioned Isa ibn Maryam, the Mahdi and Isa ibn Maryam are going to be together, so it's considered to be one. That's a plausible explanation. Similar to that is why the Dajjal wasn't mentioned in the Quran. Since Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned Isa ibn Maryam as one of those major signs, Isa ibn Maryam is going to be on the scene when the Mahdi comes, when the Dajjal comes, and he's going to be the one, the only one who's able to slay the Dajjal. So there's an ayat of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, وَإِن مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّا لِيُؤْمِنُنَّ بِهِ قَبْلَ مَوْتِهِ. There's no one from Ahl al-Kitab except that he's going to believe in him before his death. Believe in him before his death. Scholar said, believe in him refers to a Dajjal who's going to be there during the time of the Mahdi. The last ayat that the ulama of the Salaf used to prove that the Dajjal was mentioned in the Quran is the statement of Allah Ta'ala, وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ. Verily he is a sign for the hour. They said that this damir, إِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ or عَلَمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ. He is a sign, he, this pronoun, is referring back to the Dajjal. Whether it was mentioned or not, and this is the point, is irrelevant. Whether it was mentioned in the Quran or not is irrelevant. The Prophet mentioned it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he mentioned it in all of the books of hadith. So therefore, the Dajjal has been established in the hadith and in the sunnah by the way that is mutawatir. There are a number of companions, not one, not two, not three, not four, not five. There are a number of companions who narrated the mentioning of the Dajjal in one way or another, bringing a lot of different information that the other ones didn't bring. So the belief in the issue shouldn't be something that there's any doubt about. The other thing, Ikhwani, is the dawah of a Dajjal. The Dajjal is the biggest fitna because he's going to not only call the people to the rububiyyah of Allah, that he's going to claim that he is the Lord, but he's going to claim al-uluhiyyah. He's going to request from the people that they worship him. There's no fitna bigger than that. Someone coming claiming that they have the right to be worshipped along with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In addition to that, he'll be given shubahat, and this is important. Those miracles that were given to the prophets and the messengers in the Quran, the ability to raise up the dead, a Dajjal is going to have that ability, bi-idhnillah. But when the prophets and the messengers do those miracles, splitting the moon, water coming out of the hand, the fool making tasbih, the animals talking to him, the clouds covering the prophet, all of those things that happen to the prophets and messengers in the Quran, they are called mu'jizat, miracles. Then you have the regular person from the salihin, people of the taqwa, from the awliya of Allah. they also have the ability. They've been given signs, some people, that are not normal signs. They're called Quramat, not Mu'jizat, because they're not prophets and messengers. And that can be just for the righteous people. A man, if he makes a dua against someone, for something, it happens. An individual, it's a drought, he makes salat istisqa, he's the leader of the salat, the rain comes down. Allah Ta'ala gave these people this ability, and it's called Quramat, not Mu'jizat, not miracles. Super ordinary issues. And then we have the issue of the Dajjal, and the people like the Dajjal, where Allah Azza wa Jal gives evil people the ability to have these shubahat that can trick and fake the people. They may have the ability to make someone well. Someone is really handicapped, paralyzed, and they have the ability, bi'idhnillah, to make them well, to lead the people astray. So Allah Azza wa Jal gave the Dajjal this ability as a fitna, as a trial for the community. So his dawah is the dawah of al-uluhiyah. But clearly, it can't be Allah Azza wa Jalla for many reasons. One of those reasons is clearly from the descriptions that the Nabi mentioned about him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is that he has the name Kafir written on his forehead. Nowhere is it conceivable, plausible, possible that Allah Azza wa Jalla has Kafir connected to him in any shape, form, or fashion. Allah can do anything and everything, and he doesn't need anybody. A Dajjal can't do anything and everything. He has al-ajiz, he's incapable. He can't enter into Mecca, he can't enter into al-Medina, he can't enter into al-Bayt al-Maqdis, he can't enter into the mountain of Tur where Musa went and he received the revelation from Allah. So he can't go into 4 places, not just Mecca and Medina. The hadith is a hadith in the Mu'jam of al-Imam al-Tabarani, al-Mu'jam al-Kabir. The Nabi, he says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لا يدخل الدجال الكعبة ولا مسجد رسول الله ولا بيت المقدس ولا Tur. He won't be able to go into those 4 places. Mecca, Medina, he won't be able to go into the Masjid al-Aqsa, and he won't be able to go into a Tur. So add that on to your information, because a lot of people don't know that Masjid al-Aqsa is included in that issue. And the mountain of a Tur, when he comes out, there are going to be some Muslims who are going to make hijrah, and they're going to escape away from him and his fitna to the mountain of a Tur. The shahid is, how can he be? Allah Azza wa Jalla deserves to be worshipped, and he's ajiz. He's going to need help from the people. He's going to need help from the people. He's going to have those followers. And from what we know about his characteristic is that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that 70,000 Jews from Asbahan are going to come out and they're going to follow him. They're going to be wearing the clothes of the Persians that are well known, called the Tayalasa. He also said that the Dajjal, when he comes out, he's going to go to Medina. And he's going to try to get into Medina. But he'll see the Malaika around Medina. So he'll pitch a camp outside of Medina. There's going to be 1 earthquake, a 2nd earthquake, a 3rd earthquake, and after the 3rd earthquake, all of the munafiqeen, men and women who were inside of Medina, are going to leave Medina and they're going to join his army because he needs help. And another thing about that point is, if the individual is with the Dajjal, he's following the Dajjal, he's with his army, he's considered to be a non-Muslim. The person who goes with the Dajjal is not going to be a Muslim. There's no in-between. You either have those believers who run away from him and they escape from him, or you have the people who are kuffar who are with him. So one of the ways that the Prophet ﷺ told us to protect ourselves from him and the likes of him, people of innovation, people of craziness, he said if he comes out, then don't go to him. Because a person will think that he has strong religion, and then he'll start following him based upon the shubahat that he has. And those shubahat are going to be serious, they're going to be strong. Someone here in this audience is the best Muslim here. He has the most knowledge, the most sabr, the most taqwa. Someone has the most knowledge here. Every single person here is under assault and is threatened if the Dajjal came out. The Nabi told the people sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِذَا خَرَجَ الدَّجَّالُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَأَنَا فِيكُمْ فَأَنَا حَجِيجُكُمْ مِنْ دُونِهِ. وَإِذَا خَرَجَ وَأَنَا لَسْتُ فِيكُمْ فَكُلُّ مُسْلِمٍ حَجِيجُ نَفْسِهِ. If he came out while I'm with you, I'm going to protect you from him. I'm going to deal with him. I'm going to tell you what to do and what not to do, where to go, where not to go. I'm going to explain to you. This is the Dajjal. The prophet can't kill him, won't kill him, but he'll be able to give dawah and explain to the people. He said, but if he comes out and I'm not there, then everybody's going to be responsible for his own self. So in our situation, I don't think anyone here, knowing his reality, how we are in our application of Islam, understanding of Islam, I don't think anybody here can possibly look at himself as being safe if the Dajjal came out. Our wives, our children, ourselves can easily follow him because of the shubahat that he has been given. So the point is that Dajjal, when he is ajiz, he doesn't have the ability. When he kills that man, when he kills him, there's going to be a young man. He's going to come out and he's going to give dawah and he's going to say the haqq, and it's going to cost him his life, but he's not going to be afraid, which goes to show the Muslim has to say the haqq even if it's going to harm him sometimes. So the man said to the people, this man, he is the Dajjal that the Prophet warned us of. That Dajjal would say to the people who are still in doubt, if I kill this man and bring him back to life, would you people believe me that I am your Lord? Because I just gave him life and death. Some people, they're not sure. He'll kill him, split him in half, walk between them, put them back together. The man will wake up, come back to life. He said, now I have no doubt you are the Dajjal, because the Prophet told us you was going to do that. Dajjal is going to go to kill him again, but he can't. He's the only human being that he'll be able to kill like that. And then when he goes to do it again, he can. If he was Allah Azza wa Jalla, he would have been able to do so. So this Dajjal, his dawah is a dawah of falsehood. From what the Prophet told the people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that no other prophet said is that the Dajjal, he is our, and Allah is not our, and you will not be able to see your Lord until you die, and you will be able to see this Dajjal al-Afak, and you didn't die yet. He said Allah, he doesn't have one eye. Allah has two eyes. He doesn't have one eye. And the Dajjal has one eye. You will not be able to see your Lord while you're living until you die, but you'll be able to see this pathological liar, and you didn't die yet. So that's from the information and the characteristics that the Nabi mentioned, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that no other prophet mentioned. Now there's a little bit of a problem here. Inside al-Bukhari and Muslim, it said that his right eye is messed up. His right eye is like a protruding grape and is messed up. In Sahih Muslim and some other ahadith books, it said that his left eye is messed up. So one hadith said the right eye, the other hadith said the left eye. The people who call themselves the Qur'aniyun, when issues like this happen, they come and they say, you see, this is why I don't take the sunnah, the hadith, because there are contradictions. How? Either the right eye or the left eye. No. You have to come up with a plausible explanation, because find in hadith, both of them are authentic. Some of the ulama, they said we should take the right eye because it's in Bukhari and Muslim, and that's the strongest book. Others said no, the principle in Islam is it's better to work by all of the texts as opposed to working by some and getting rid of others, and those other ones are authentic. As we mentioned, examples of that in this masjid about that principle. You come into the masjid at Maghrib time, don't sit down and don't pray. If you don't sit down, you won't go against the hadith. Don't sit before praying 2 rakats. If you don't pray, you'll be following the hadith. This is the time not to pray. Now, if a person starts praying, technically he's okay, because there's a hadith that said don't sit down until you pray 2 rakats. So he came in, he starts praying. But he's praying at a time when there's another authentic hadith that said don't do that. So how can he work with both of the texts? It's better to do both of them than to do one, and the other one is authentic. So they said what? They said what? Concerning the Dajjal, they said no. The way we should understand this issue is the right one seriously messed up, and the left one not messed up as much. Another issue, Ikhwani, concerning that young man who the Dajjal is going to kill. Some people are of the opinion that the one who was killed by the Dajjal is split in half and put together, he was Khidr. He was Khidr. People of Sufism, they love to give that interpretation. If you see a person giving that interpretation, it's not permissible for you to say you're an innovator because of that interpretation. That interpretation is wrong because there's no dalil, but there were some great scholars of Islam who said that the one who was killed during the time of the Dajjal, he's going to be Khidr. And it's one of the dalils that Sufis use to show that Khidr is still living from the time of Musa, and he's still on the scene because he has to be killed by the Dajjal. And Imam Muslim, he has a number of narrators in his book. Sahih Muslim has many narrators. One of those narrators, the Rawi, his kunya is Abu Ishaq. His name is Ibrahim ibn Sufyan al-Faqih. He's a thiqah man. He knows what he's doing. He's muhaddith in hadith. Authentic, thiqah, thabt. That was his interpretation. So if he's a big scholar and he took that interpretation, and that's where some people got it from, if you're going to say having that interpretation automatically puts a person outside the sunnah, makes him an innovator, then that ruling has to apply to that imam as well. And that is something that is not acceptable. Some of the signs that the Nabi told us about is that the Dajjal, when he comes out, is going to come out in a place called Khurasan. Khurasan, which is over there by Afghanistan, over there by Persia. Khurasan. They knew that place during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's an authentic hadith of Sahih Bukhari. Then another hadith said that he's going to come out between Iraq and Sham, and that's not Khurasan. Both hadith are authentic. One hadith said that Dajjal is going to come out. The place he's going to come out is Khurasan. And another hadith said he's going to come out, he's going to be between Sham and Iraq, and that's not Khurasan. Again, two authentic hadith. So what the scholars do? They harmonize between the two. They said he will originate and come from that place, Khurasan, and he'll come out. And his affair will become well known when he arrives between Sham and Iraq. Can't reject this and just take that, reject that and just take this. You have to bring both of the issues together with a plausible explanation, not something that is far off the mark. And that particular explanation is pretty plausible, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. We're going to deal with, inshallah, Ikhwani, next week about Abdullah ibn Sayyad. Is he the Dajjal or not? The young boy who was living during the time of the Nabi. Some of the companions said, Wallahi, he's the Dajjal. Another said, no, he's not the Dajjal. And it doesn't appear that he is the Dajjal. It appears he is one of the Dajjals from the many, the 30 that are going to come to this ummah, claiming prophethood and so forth and so on. But the point about him coming out with Ibn Siyad, Abdullah ibn Umar had an argument with Abdullah ibn Sayyad, the young man who the prophet thought he could be the Dajjal, which is a proof that Dajjal is a human being. He's a human being. He's not a monster. He's not the boogeyman. He's not the TV. He's not the New World Order. He's not any of that. He's a human being that has a mother and a father. And he's been living a long time, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw him in a dream, and Tamim al-Dari, the companion who used to be a Christian, along with his companions, they were shipwrecked and they saw him tied up. Another proof he's not Allah, because he's ajiz, he's incapable and unable. He was on an island and they came and they saw him tied up, and he started speaking to them about different things, asking them about signs. So this human being has been living since a long time. Now the Muslim is not going to come and say, I don't believe in that. Isa ibn Maryam, from the awliya of Allah, he's been living up in the Sama for over 2,000 years. It's the problem. Allah does what he wants to do with whatever he wants to do. So the Dajjal is a human being. Get that in your mind, that he's not some other creation. He has a mother, he has a father, because the Nabi came to that little boy and he thought he was the Dajjal. Umar said in the story, I'm going to explain later, he said, let me kill him, Ya Rasulullah, he's the Dajjal. He said, if he is the Dajjal, you won't be able to kill him. That's for Isa ibn Maryam. But if he's not the Dajjal, what's the benefit of killing him? He was a young boy. He wasn't old yet. So anyway, the point about him coming out. Abdullah ibn Umar, he had an argument with him. And Abdullah ibn Umar made him upset and angry. The hadith in Sahih Bukhari said that the man started huffing and puffing, that he spread out and covered both sides of the street. Ibn Umar left him and went into the house to our mother Hafsa, the wife of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. She saw him angry. She said, what's the matter? He said that Ibn Siyad, and he told him what had happened. He made me upset, and we argued, and he grew bigger than the street. Wallahi is the Dajjal. Hafsa said to him, you should fear Allah, Ibn Umar. Don't you know that the Prophet said a Dajjal is going to come out after something made him angry? So if he is the Dajjal, you made him angry, you may be the cause of the man coming out. So that's something we should know about his coming out, that the Prophet told us, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Someone may say, but he was in Medina. He could have left Medina and went to Khurasan. The point is, if he was the Dajjal, but it doesn't appear that he is the Dajjal. And we're going to explain that later, inshallah azawajal. Some of what the Nabi told us about that man is that there are going to be some wars that are going to take place before he comes out. This is why we know it didn't happen yet. The Prophet said that when the Muslims move to Bayt al-Maqdis, Al-Medina will be destroyed. It's going to fall apart because people are going to leave Al-Medina. Al-Medina is better for them if they only know. And when Al-Medina is destroyed, then that's when there's going to be a lot of fighting and killing and bloodshed and a lot of wars. He said that's when the conquest of Al-Qastantiniya is going to take place. I always have a problem with pronouncing this in English. Maybe you guys can help me. It's called Constantinople. That's it. Say it again. That's the place. The Muslims are going to conquer that particular area. After they conquer that particular area, the Dajjal is going to come out. Another hadith said the Muslims are going to fight the people of Persia, and they're going to defeat them. Then they're going to fight the Romans. They're going to defeat them. And then after fighting the Romans, the Dajjal is going to come out. So there are going to be a number of major wars. Now this is really important. A lot of times, when the masjid or the organization, they want to talk about the last day, the establishment of the hour, they call it Armageddon. They'll call the lecture Armageddon. And we should avoid using that because Armageddon is not the establishment of the hour in Al-Islam. Armageddon, it means, it's a biblical term, it means one thing and one thing only. It means the last war that's going to take place between good and bad, or the place where that war is going to take place. Has nothing to do with many other aspects of the Ashrat al-Sa'ah. The sun coming up in the west has nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with the fire coming from Yemen and pushing the people and so forth. Has nothing to do with the earthquakes. It has nothing to do with it. It's just the war between the believers and the disbelievers, or the place of that war. So we shouldn't title our talks Armageddon. Armageddon being a biblical term, it could be what we just mentioned. Those wars between good and bad that the Muslims are going to fight and conquer the Arabian Peninsula. The Muslims are going to fight, conquer the Romans. They're going to fight, they're going to conquer the Persians. They're going to conquer Constantinople. This is all. That may be some Armageddon stuff, but we shouldn't think that these two words are synonyms to one another. In addition to that, Ikhwani, from the alamat of him coming out, is that 3 years before that Dajjal comes out, there's going to be pestilence, and there's going to be al-qaht. There's not going to be any rain. It's going to be drought, sicknesses. 3 years before he comes out. The third year before he comes out, Allah is going to tell the sky to hold back a third of the water. He's going to tell the earth, hold back a third of its produce. 2 years before he comes out, Allah is going to tell the earth, hold back 2/3. It's going to tell the water, the rain, hold back 2/3. And then the last year, the year right before he comes out, there will be no rain, there's going to be no vegetation. And the animals of the people are going to either die or become skinny with no meat, no flesh. So the people are going to remain like that for a whole year, and that third year is getting increasingly worse. A Dajjal comes out, and the people are going to hear, God has come. The Ilah has come. God Almighty has come down, and He has with Him mountains of bread, and He has with Him rivers of water. If you believe in Him, He's going to give you whatever you want. You're going to eat food. And if you disbelieve in Him, life is going to be tough on you. You're going to have to suffer. They say, Ya Rasulullah, how are the believers going to exist that day? He said they're going to exist on La ilaha illallah, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, which shows a number of points. Number one, the fact that you have problems, you can't pay your rent, you don't have a lot of food. Some people had it difficult, the way they live. It's not an indication that you're on falsehood. It's not an indication that Allah doesn't love you. Not an indication that other people have a lot, they're good. Doesn't mean that. It also shows, Ikhwani, that poor people, people in need, they have to refer to the dhikr of Allah. The more you make dhikr of Allah, the more you're sustained in your impoverished state. And that's one of the ni'mas and benefits of poverty. Some of the ulama, Ikhwani, they wrote books about the virtues of poverty. How the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make dua to Allah to raise me up Yawm al-Qiyamah in the ranks of the Masakin. The Masakin are going to enter into the Jannah 500 years before the rich people. In front of all of you, there is a steep mountain. No one will get over that mountain if he has a lot of stuff. You don't have a lot of stuff? You have a little bit of stuff that you own? You get on top of that mountain, you're not going to be questioned. How did you get it? How did you spend it? How this, that? You're not going to be questioned about it. The more stuff you have, the more you're going to be questioned about it. The more clothes you have, the more shoes you have, the more property you have, the more money you have, you're going to be questioned about all. Poor people, they don't have. They won't be questioned. All he has is 1 or 2 throats. That's it. They got holes in it. That's it. He eats 1 meal a day. He barely eats. That's all he's going to be questioned. So it may be that a person hates something that is better for him. It may be that he likes something that is worse for him. So the point is, when he comes out, that's going to be the condition of the people for 3 years. And if he said that it will be in the earth for 40 days, 40, first day will be like a year, second day will be like a month, third day will be like a week, and the subsequent 37 days will be like our time. Again, it's from what Allah Ta'ala does. He does whatever He wants to do, however He wants to do, whenever, and the wisdom of all of that is with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Now, concerning some of his characteristics, Ikhwani, the Nabi said that the Dajjal is one eye. Hadith said one eye is the right eye, another one said it's the left eye. Said that he had woolly hair. He said that the Dajjal was short, and there's something wrong with his feet. He has feet that go in like this, hen-toed they call it. His feet are going to go in like this. He says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that a Dajjal is white. Now, we can't come to the table with reverse psychology now and say, oh, the white people Dajjal. But the Nabi said that the Dajjal was white. What white did he say? Blue eyes, blonde hair. He didn't go into all of that. He said he's white, meaning he's not like the color of people who come from Africa. He's not like the color of the people who come from Asia. It could be like the people who come from Europe. And it may be like the people who come from Sham. Because Abdullah ibn Sayyad was an Arab, the young boy, who the Nabi thought that he could possibly be the Dajjal. From his characteristics is he has the word kafir, as we mentioned, on his forehead, as the Nabi said, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. From the virtues of a particular tribe in Islam, from the Arabs, they call Bani Tamim. Rasulullah said about Bani Tamim, they're one of the biggest tribes in the Arabian Peninsula right now. Inna ashadda nasi ala Dajjal Bani Tamim. That tribe is the toughest tribe against a Dajjal. So it's a virtue that that tribe has. like Quraysh has some virtues. The Ash'ariyun have virtues. Yemenis, they have virtues. Different people from different places, they have virtues. So the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam praised his tribe. And from that tribe is the Mujaddid Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, Rahimahullahu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It doesn't mean that everybody from that tribe is a good person or in Jannah, but in general, the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had the ability to prophesize that this particular tribe will be the toughest tribe on Dajjal. Inshallah ta'ala, next Tuesday, we'll deal with the second portion of this remembrance, giving the people an opportunity to come back and start the Dars of Imam An-Nawawi again. Okay, Ikhwani, if you brothers have any questions, comments, ta'liqat, you can put them forth right now. هل عندكم شيء؟ أخي إبراهيم. How will the people know who the Mahdi is? The Mahdi is going to be known by knowledge. Next week, inshallah, we're going to talk about some of the ways you can protect yourself from the Dajjal. And like anything else, the prerequisite of protection, the prerequisite of ibadat is knowing what you're doing. If you have knowledge about your aqidah, you know you won't see Allah Azza wa Jal in the dunya. You know that. He can't be seen. Allah Ta'ala mentioned about Musa in the Quran. Musa, وَلَمَّا جَاءَ مُوسَى مِيقَاتَنَا وَكَلَّمَهُ رَبُّهُ قَالَ رَبِّي أَنظُرْنِي رَبِّي أَرْنِي أَنظُرْ إِلَيْكَ قَالَ لَن تَرَانِي وَلَكِنْ أَنظُرْ إِلَى الْجَبَلِ فإن استقر مكانه فسوف تراني فلما تجلى ربه للجبل جعله دكا وسعق موسى وخر موسى صعقا ولما أفاق قال سبحانك تبت إليك وأنا أول المؤمنين. Remember when Musa came to meet his Lord and his Lord spoke to him? Musa said, "Oh my Lord, show me yourself." Allah said, "You will never be able to see me in this dunya. But look over in the mountain. If the mountain is stationary, I'm going to show myself on the mountain, some of myself. If it stays, you'll be able to see." When Allah Ta'ala manifested that light on the mountain dropped down and Musa fell out unconscious. When he came back through, he said, "Glory unto you. I make Tawbah. I'm the first of those who believe." And Allah can't be seen in the dunya. Allah can be seen in the hereafter. So if the person knows the aqidah, Allah has perfection in all of his names and attributes. The sifat of Allah are perfect. He sees everything, he has everything, knows everything. He's all just, he's fair. He doesn't have children. The fact that you have children shows you're weak because you have shahwa. Allah doesn't need that. Allah is as-samad, not in need of anybody. So if a person has knowledge, he knows the Dajjal. If he has knowledge, he'll know the Mahdi. I lived in Florida in the 90s. A brother embraced Islam. He was a good person, had a lot of efforts, a lot of ijtihad, came from a far distance to pray Fajr in the masjid. But he started to have crazy, weird behavior. And from what he claimed was, he was the Mahdi. He started having dreams. And whenever he would read a hadith, he would have a dream about that hadith. The two angels sitting at the head of the Prophet, one at the head, one at the... He dreamed that happened to him. Every time he saw a hadith, he would start dreaming. And he started telling the people, "I'm the Mahdi." We said to him, "Akhi, you can't be the Mahdi because you come from Trinidad. The Mahdi doesn't come from Trinidad, doesn't come from Pakistan, doesn't come from Mogadishu, doesn't come from India. It's not coming from those places." His name, he came up with, he had a non-Muslim name, and then he chose an Islamic name. A nice name of one of the companions. A nice name, one of the Persian companions. We told him the Mahdi's name is Muhammad ibn Abdullah. When he found that out, he changed his name. And he went over to Egypt. And he went in one of those alleyways in Egypt, and they made for him the tree of Ahlul Bayt. Anybody can make that. Anybody can say that they're Sayyid. Anybody can say he's Sharif, Quraysh. Just go over there and get the tree and put your name up in there somehow. That's all. Doesn't change anything. So, if a person knows what the Prophet said about him, about the Mahdi, then he'll be able to identify him. One of the things he said about the Mahdi was, يُصْلِحُ اللَّهُ فِي لَيْلَةٍ وَاحِدَةٍ. Allah will rectify his situation in one night. And Imam Ibn Kathir said the meaning of that is that Al-Mahdi was not always a practicing religious person. So irreligious people shouldn't give up hope, because Umar was not always practicing and he became from the awliya of Allah, many of those companions. So if a person is not practicing, the practicing person shouldn't look at them and be judgmental, because Allah may guide them to practice him very well and you go astray. So we don't give up hope concerning the rahmatullah, the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's an authentic hadith. Any more questions, Ikhwani? Tfaddal, ya akhi, tfaddal. No doubt, good dreams. The Nabi says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that Revelation is 46 branches, 4-6. Allah raised them all up. And Nubuwa, prophecy is 46 branches. Allah took them all up except one. And the one branch that remains of Nubuwa, prophecy, is a good dream. A good dream. As for a bad dream, then that's from shaitan. And in both cases, there's a minhaj of what to do and what not to do. I advise you guys go back to the book Riyadh al-Salihin. In that chapter is a do and don't do about the dreams. So since the good dream is a branch of revelation, it can be information that Allah has given the individual. And it may not be. It may not be. It could be and it may not be. A Dajjal will have the ability to come to the Arab, the Bedouin, the ignorant person. And he will have the ability to appear in the form of his mother and his father. Not just the father. Dajjal is male. He'll have the ability to appear in the form of a person's mother and father. And this man lost his mother and his father. And he's going to look at that situation. And they're going to say to him, follow him, son. He is your Lord. We testify to that. That's a vision that he's seeing. It's kadhib. It's not true. I mean, that's something that he's seeing, but it's not true. So just because a person sees something in his dream doesn't necessarily mean, if it's good, doesn't mean that it's going to happen like that, or it's some prelude to something that's going to happen in the future. And if you see something evil in his dream, doesn't necessarily mean something bad is going to happen, or that thing is going to happen. But if he sees good things, he tells it to the people that he loves, he respects, and he hopes for good. If he sees a bad dream, he doesn't tell it to anyone, he doesn't talk about it, and he changes his position of sleeping. The way he was sleeping, he changes that position. Any more questions, Ikhwani? Aywa. Last two questions right here. The reason why the boy Abdullah ibn Siyad, they thought he was a Dajjal, is because he was telling people in Medina during the time of Rasulullah what was going to happen, and it would happen. He was saying this is going to happen, that, and it was happening. And then his news became well known. The Prophet heard about what had happened. So the Nabi came to him and he said, do you bear witness that I'm the messenger of Allah? The boy said, no. I bear witness you're the messenger to the unlettered person, the illiterate people. Do you, Muhammad, bear witness that I'm the messenger of Allah? Rasulullah said, I believe in Allah and his books and the angels. Anytime the Muslim hears or sees something that goes against his religion, he hears somebody apostated, someone's doing something crazy, something wild, far out. He says, I believe in Allah and his messenger. Don't let any of you recline on his couch. Shaitan comes to him and says, who created this? He says, Allah. Who created that? He says, Allah. Who created that? He says, Allah. Then the person said, who created Allah? The Prophet said, if that wiswas comes to you, say, I believe in Allah and his messenger. So the Nabi said, when the boy said, do you believe I'm a Rasul? I'm the Nabi. He said, I believe in Allah, his books, and the Malaika. He said, what do you see? He said, I see the throne, something, the Arsh is over the water. The Nabi said, you see the Arsh of Iblis. He said, something came down to me last night, revelation. If you were Nabi, if you know the unseen, what was revealed to me? And what was revealed was Surat Ad-Dukhan. Ad-Dukhan. So the Quran talking about Yawm al-Qiyamah, when the Dukhan comes, the smoke, the clouds. The boy didn't say Dukhan, but he said Ad-Dukh, which is close. He just left off a few syllables. Ad-Dukhan is the words, the surah. He said, I see a Dukh. The Prophet was shocked. How did he know that? And the Nabi didn't even tell the people that yet. And he said a Dukh. And that's when Umar, when he saw that the Nabi was shocked, he saw that, he said, Ya Rasulullah, let me get him. And the Nabi said, hey, if he is the Dajjal, you won't be able to. Lan tusallit alayhi. You won't be able to do it. Because only Isa ibn Maryam will be able to do that. And when Isa ibn Maryam kills him, he's going to dissolve and disintegrate like salt in water. He's the only one who can do it. So that's why they thought he was a Dajjal. But he wasn't. As we're going to explain, inshallah, next week. Last question. Amen. Yeah, that's ikhtilaf concerning the order. Inshallah, we'll deal with that next week. This is ikhtilaf because different hadith are saying different things. We know some of the order. We know some of the order. Like we know that Ya'juj and Ma'juj is going to come after Dajjal and come after Isa ibn Maryam. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we don't know that. Because the hadith don't go from 1 to 10 in that order. Okay, Ikhwani, we're going to stop here. هذا وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.